Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, Ghana to receive or to send its loan program request to the IMF for approval in March this year. That's according to the president.
We are on course for the IMF staff to present to the IMF Executive Board Ghana's program request for a $3 billion extended credit facility by the end of this month.
We'll subject that to analysis. Also, the president saying the external debt restructuring is going on well. But why are Eurobond holders getting the jitters? We will discuss. Plus, Ghana Stock Exchange gets ready to list 10 state-owned enterprises on the stock market.
Working with SIGA to have 10 SOEs list on the market, raise capital, and do the expansions and the productions of goods and services.
How will that impact the markets? We'll have more on that coming up on the marketplace. My name is Darryl Carr. Thanks for being with us. Well, first up, the International Monetary Fund staff will present Ghana's loan program request to the board, the executive board, for approval by the end of March this year. That's according to President Akufo-Addo. He disclosed this when he delivered the State of the Nation address. Now, Ghana is struggling with this worst economic crisis in a generation and is seeking $3 billion from the IMF as bailout. But approval is dependent on how successful our debt restructuring program is. Take a listen to the president address the nation Wednesday.
Mr. Speaker, having reached a staff-level agreement on 12 December 2022, after 5 months of intense negotiations and completion of most of the prior actions required under the agreement, we are on course for the IMF staff to present to the IMF Executive Board Ghana's program request for a $3 billion extended credit facility by the end of this month. Mr. Speaker, we're also making progress on the external debt negotiations since the government announced an external debt service suspension on 19th December 2022 for certain categories of external debt to ensure an orderly restructuring. This suspension is an interim emergency measure toward a comprehensive external debt operation which will contribute to the restoration of our debt sustainability in line with our request for debt treatment under the G20 Common Framework. I want to express our appreciation to members of the Paris Club and to the People's Republic of China for the cooperation they have so far exhibited to us in attempting to reach an agreement and in their attempt to establish an official credit committee. We look forward to their fast-tracking the needed financing assurances for IMF approval. We are confident that with their cooperation, we will reach our March deadline for going to the fund.
All right, so that was President Akufo-Addo addressing the nation yesterday. Joining us on Zoom, Seram Kao, who is a senior finance lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. Great to see you. And so, was that a true reflection of the state of our economy, and what stood out as you monitored, Seram?
Okay, thank you very much, Darry. The president started the speech on a good note by congratulating the women once it's a Women International Day. And so that was good. And the role that women play in our lives as a nation, as individuals. But then looking at the state of the nation, I was expecting that we have a state of the nation from for the past 1 year. We are in March. So March last year to March, or February last year to March this year, that will give us 1 year, because the president has been giving the State of the Nation for some time now. But then looking at the real issues that are confronting the economy, the president chose to go back to when they assumed office, and then came down to what is happening, and little about what they are going to do, but just to talk about Ghana going to IMF, and we are going to get the deal by the end of the month. Now, one thing that struck me, which is the real state of the Ghanaian economy, the president spoke about, was that, yes, they've not been borrowing recklessly. They borrow to ensure that they provide infrastructure. He spoke about a lot of the things which sum up to the fear that some of us have over time, that Ghana has been borrowing to do almost everything, which tells me that our politicians, if they borrow to do almost everything, they shouldn't tell, when they are mounting the campaign platform, they shouldn't tell us when they come they are going to do A, B, and C. They should rather tell us.
That in itself, is it a true statement when he says that the government hasn't borrowed recklessly?
In fact, if he said that they've not borrowed recklessly, that might not be very factual. If you are borrowing and then you are actually not using the money for the things that you are supposed to use it for, so that the borrowing sometimes can pay for themselves. If you are not doing that, then it means that you are not borrowing to the principles and policies that you stood up for. And the point I was trying to make is that if the president is telling us they borrow for almost everything, it means that the next time that they mount the campaign platform, they should tell us, vote for us. We will come and borrow to do the things that we are promising that we are going to do for you. And it is your own money. You are the people who are going to pay for some of these things. Secondly, what is the use of our natural resources that we have in the country? Is it always the time that we have to borrow for development? Is that the way to go? What happened to the import substitution industry that we spoke about? The president talked about some of the one district, one factories that have been completed and those that are still going on. And over time, they believe that that is the way to go. But we have been saying that no, these factories have not somehow been able to deliver on their mandates. And so there should be a broader approach in looking at this one district, one factory. Some of them are at court because the banks are taking them for the loans that they have extended to some of these factories. So the financing package has not been very good. The president also talked about the Russia-Ukraine war, the COVID-19, where they have extended some grants to some businesses and some individuals. Do we need to give out grants when the people know that they are not going to pay back? Are we in the position to give freebies? And so when we need to have a conversation that as we are going forward and we are going to borrow money, you don't borrow money and go and dash it free of charge. Nobody does that. You borrow money, you give it out as loans or invest it into businesses, and these businesses will be in a position to repay the money that you have. And so if you are borrowing and you are not using it for productive activities, we will continue to go and borrow, and we will continue to restructure the debt from time to time. And so for me, the State of the Nation address, the president swiftly, smartly went back to the past, where we came from, where we are now, and failed to tell us how we would come to solve our problems, only to tell us that if we don't get the IMF deal, it means that our woes will continue to haunt us.
Well, I guess they didn't have anything to say about what to expect in the future because everything now seems hinged on an IMF program, and that's what they would like to focus on. But finally, the president talks about, I mean, he's so optimistic and confident that by the end of March, we are going to get the loan program request to the executive board and then get the approval. Do you see that happening, seeing the challenges that we still have with external debt restructuring?
Yeah, I think I have made this point over and over that it is not going to be very smooth for government, especially where we have the Chinese not being part of the entire G20 framework and the politics going on with Russia, Ukraine, and all those things that we have. So it becomes very difficult for government to get a deal easily. But hey, this is our president telling us that we are going to get a deal by the end of the month. It means that he has seen something. They are negotiating. We are not with the team. We don't know what our creditor community is telling us. And for that matter, we will only hold the president by his words. When it turns out not to be true, it is his presidency that is on the line. So for now, I will not doubt that particular one. I believe that they will live up to expectations.
We'll keep watching. Thank you so much, Sayam Kao, for your time this afternoon on the marketplace. I appreciate it. And so...